Andy Warhol's interview design from California Institute of the Arts in Valencia. Soon after, Rena moved to New York City, where she worked and lived for close to 10 years. Her work has been seen in galleries around the world, and she's represented in several international collections. Rena Small teaches at Cerritos College, Palos Verdes Art Center, Marymount College, and Rena, what do you teach at these places?
I teach people how to see. I try to develop their vision. I try to give them hope.
Oh, that's great.
Make them dream.
That's great because people, you're talking about seeing in a different way than just seeing, right?
Right. Primarily, though, I teach photography and I use the camera. The camera is a mask, and you're behind the mask, and it's such a precious, it's still precious photography, just basic black and white. I love the classics because the student or the person using the camera, it's their brain that's seeing the world. And so I try to help them see the world the way they see it. And it's fascinating. They get all charged up.
They see it the way they see it, but are you showing them new ways to see it?
Right. Well, I give them assignments, like photograph something you hate, photograph something you love, photograph something extraordinary, something ordinary, and put the two together.
Do they have to be great camera people?
No, I teach them how to use the camera properly.
You do?
I'm a real stickler for technique, yeah.
So it can't be a cheap camera from the, those kind of,
no. I like to teach them to be professional.
But that's looking through a camera. Then do they start seeing the rest of the world with different viewpoints?
Yeah, well, they start to see their world. I mean, it was fascinating working in Norwalk because I had students that were living in gang-infested neighborhoods. And so one of the assignments was social document, and this woman started photographing the very complicated language of tagging and how people are tagged and they're going to get killed. And I mean, it was really amazing to see her photograph it.
Did she learn it, or did she know it when she was photographing it?
No, she knew all about it.
Oh, she did.
So she taught me the language of the taggers, which I had no idea that the graffiti has a very complicated secrets behind it. And
how do those people who live in those communities actually know what those graffiti tags mean, I guess?
They learn it because they live it. They know that the arrow that points down means that somebody's going to get killed. Now, I had pepper spray, and I told her to get some pepper spray, and she laughed at me, and she said pepper spray doesn't do anything against guns. So, and then on the other hand, I teach at Palos Verdes Art Center.
Totally different.
I love it. I get the tennis set, and 10-year-old boys that are on their way back from their tennis matches, and so I love the contrast.
But it's
and
still
people are people.
It's still looking at their own world, isn't it? So you're getting a view of all these different worlds as well.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
What's one thing that, as a layman who sees art, I mean, I see things really beautiful. I see the colors in the flowers, the Clifford Miller bronze, the leaves are different colors. But what else should you look at in something like this? Well,
what I think is amazing about all floral, all flowers, is that they're organic. And I think Robert Mapplethorpe photographed them so beautifully. And that's why I love the hands so much, because they're so organic.
And
so, yeah, and I've been photographing flowers lately, actually. It's a new series. I'm developing these long stem rose pictures. So I'm having these really long photographs I'm developing them. But I can understand why Mapplethorpe photographed flowers.
So what should we look at in something like this?
Whatever you want to look at. I mean, I tend to look at the stamen. I tend to look at the lines and the texture. I smell them. I'm very aware of how they smell because I'm right here. So I don't tell anybody what you should look at. It's what do you see, Joan? What do you love about it?
But just to make you concentrate on something.
Yeah.
Just to concentrate on something.
Look at it from all different angles. Stand up on a chair. Get down on the ground. Move your body.
Is that what you do with your camera? Take your camera and do that?
Right. There's just you can be hanging from the ceiling if you need to. You need to be.
I see.
Just depends what somebody wants.
You started talking about the hands of being very organic, and I always think of you as a photographer, but I know you use a lot of different medias, which we have something of right here in front. the cards. What
Right.
media is that?
That's actually a photograph of a playing card that was developed by magicians in the 40s. It's called a Phaco card.
Oh.
And so I just restructured it with the colors, and I colored it the way that I wanted to see it.
So it was based in a photograph.
It was based in a photograph. So I do work with the photograph first, and then I go from there. That's my structure.
Well, describe your work. Describe how you would say, I'm Rena Small, I'm an artist, my work is.
Well, at this point, I'm sure that my job as an artist is to teach people or teach everybody that life is a complete mystery, and it is to me. So somehow I'm bringing out the details, and I'm focused on the hands because we're such a facial culture, and everybody is worried about how they look. So I think that as an artist, I'm interested in the emotions and how they work and how they drive people.
But one of the things about artists use their hands. I mean, that's the most important thing that an artist has. Not his face or the way he looks, right?
Right. But also we all use our hands, and somehow our hands are just always expressing themselves. I was watching you, and you were really using your hands. It's fantastic.
One thing...
and it's totally unconscious. That's what I love, the unconsciousness. Just like the unconsciousness of playing cards. When I was a little girl in the family, you know, we would all play cards, and everybody would just be in this card zone. So relaxed, and that's a material of my work, is that I want the audience to be completely relaxed.
Well, one thing I know people don't think of, but once my manicurist used to do manicures for people who were hand models. So she'd say that you always have to get the blood out of the hands because the veins puff up. So she would always have people her model stand like this, because once you go like this, then the blood puffs the veins out. Did you ever think about anything like that?
No.
Because an artist wouldn't think of that, would they?
But I did have a job in New York for Warner Books. They gave me a job to photograph hands. The book cover was supposed to be David and touching in the Michelangelo painting, David touching God. So I interviewed every hand model in New York. So these hands were walking up the stairs in my studio on West Broadway, and I wasn't looking at the people, I was looking at the hands, and I think that started something really. I just looking at people as just hands. So it was a lot of fun.
We have on the set this picture of hands that are so scary to me. Whose hands are these? They're like very ominous.
Yeah, this is Carl Andre in 1984, and I had just begun the project, and what was scary about that photograph is it was totally innocent when I took it. But a year later, Carl unfortunately was indicted for pushing his wife out a 40-story window, and that photograph had been published in Interview in '85, and so it had been published just as Andre had been arrested. So at Interview they were saying, oh, it's the push shot. It's the push shot.
It really was.
And it redefined, the events redefined the portrait, because he wasn't, I didn't say, okay, Carl, let's push now, but it was a push. And
he did it just to you?
He did it in the studio, and it came from his body, and it scared the heck out of me. It really scared me.
This one is so calm, this photograph next to you.
That's Richard Diebenkorn.
Just calm.
I love this photograph because when I call the artist and say, would you please sit for me, I want to photograph your hands, I spoke to his wife, and she just started roaring with laughter, and she said, oh, I go through this spiel, well, I photographed Andy Warhol and blah, 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 to try and tell them I'm okay. She says, I don't care who you photographed. As long as you don't want his face, you could come over here. I don't care who you are. And I just love that. And he was so happy that I didn't want to photograph his face. I mean, and he's really so sweet. He was so sweet.
It's really back to what you were saying. We always think about face being the image, and it's so great that they went, no, just my hand.
Yeah, and I
You did
love
a show.
that.
You did a show up at the Temple.
Platt Gallery, University of Judaism.
University of Judaism.
Right.
And it was a whole wall filled with artists' hands.
That's where we met. That's right.
It was fabulous. And we have some of the photographs that were on that wall. We'll put them on the monitor, and then you can tell us who they are and how you went about photographing them.
Okay.
So there's the first one.
This is Tony Berlant, and this was one of those here he works with his glove. So I actually have a picture of with the glove and without the glove. And Tony told me where to stand, which is part of the process. Is I don't come in there and say, okay, you pose for me. We work together. It's collaboration. It's a performance, and we share this moment together, and so that's what I love about it. So I had to get above him on a ladder. Yeah.
Tony does metal and nails, and the stroke of his painting, he follows through the nail heads.
That's right. It's fantastic, and I also have some beautiful ones with his cutters because he cuts metal.
Yes, he cuts the
and
metal.
Then I love his work.
So the next one.
Yeah. This is Charles Arnaldi, and there's actually a quote that goes with this. It'd be hard to get things done. That's a quote that Charles said with his hands. Many of the artists are contributing quotes, so I hope to have a book sometime.
Chuck uses a lot of stick, works with sticks, wood. Okay, the next one.
Right.
We'll see the next photograph.
Beep.
Let's see who it's going to be.
We're looking at the monitor.
There. Oh, Andy Warhol.
Right.
We could tell that.
Right. Andy Warhol, and he was signing. He was at an autograph signing, and I arranged this 3 months in advance. And at that autograph signing, he was signing stomachs and shoes and Brillo, and I was so excited because I got to stand on a little ladder, and we talked before the session started, and then as soon as the doors opened, 50 photographers came rolling in with 35 millimeters, and I felt it was just like Tom Wolfe said, that photographers are like fruit flies. I really could see. I thought they're fruit flies, and I'm like a giant bee with my Hasselblad. But he was very gracious, and I was so excited because I think Warhol just scratched the surface of pop art. I mean, pop art is such an important movement.
Well, you know, I worked with Andy for so many years as the West Coast editor of Interview, and also as a very close friend.
I know that.
So to see that and to know that he was so for photographers of your quality. I mean, he was always willing to do something for someone that he thought was really, you know, intelligent and had a great eye. Let's see another one.
He was very supportive, sweet.
This is great.
This is Ralph Gibson, and Ralph actually was very instrumental in my career in New York, but he was the only, I've photographed maybe over 150 artists, and he was the only one that tried to tell me what aperture to set my camera at. And I was laughing. He was saying, why are you bracketing? That's a term we say in photography, you know, just take different exposures. I said, why am I bracketing? He said, I know it's f8. I said, oh, you know it's f8, do you? And I just laughed. I felt like Laurel and Hardy. I said, you do you?
But he photographs
beautiful.
objects, doesn't he? His thing is not people.
Well, he's really in the moment, and I think that he photographs people, but it's all very much spontaneous, and as he's glancing through his life, you know, he just catches the most gorgeous moments all over the world. I mean, I don't know how he does it. So there are people, but it isn't anything posed. He doesn't pose people.
Oh, he does do people, but just not in a pose situation.
Right, yeah.
I see. Because I know he was doing the covers of Avenue magazine.
That's right.
And they were so beautiful. You'd get just a little branch of berries or a part of just what you were talking about.
Right.
Use your eyes to see something and take a small portion of it.
Oh, he's amazing. He could just, the way he sees life, just as it is. I mean, that's like Cartier-Bresson was like that, you know, it's fantastic moments.
Well, I'm so happy you could be with us today because I think sharing these photographs and seeing the strength and the light and everything that you've done and hearing about the attitudes that you've had to go through, because I know you have a huge collection of artists' hands, right?
Right. It's actually I call it Artist Hands Grid Continuum, and I'll be photographing artist hands until I die.
Oh.
And so I have this whole vision. So far it's about 12 feet by 30 feet right now, and it'll just get larger and larger until I go.
Okay, we've got to find it somewhere. We've got to go right now, but we'll see it.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you were with us. And thanks for having all of you with us. Thanks for being with us. And don't forget to keep writing to us at Joan Agajanian Quinn, 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 917. We love the letters you've been sending us. Ask us anything. And we'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.